Part of a good colour managed workflow for photo editing is ensuring that your colours on screen are accurate. So in this video I'll cover all you need to know about screen calibration. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm talking all about screen calibration to make sure we are working with accurate colours on screen when we're photo editing. So first of all, what exactly is screen calibration and why should we do it? Well, once you understand it and know what you're doing, it's a fairly simple, straightforward process that we need to go through. It uses hardware and software to make sure our screens are showing accurate colours. The process measures the colours shown on screen along with the screen's brightness level and adjusts them to match a common standard. So, for example, when you want to make sure an image with pure red in it is actually showing it as pure red on a screen rather than, say, a shade of orange or magenta. The same with blues, the greens and every other colour too on screen. So you need to understand that all screens, displays, monitors and devices all show images and colours in slightly different ways. Some might be warmer than others and some might be brighter than others, or some might even be greener than they probably should be. If you edit and export your photos to a set standard, which is kind of what calibration is all about, you can be absolutely confident in the quality and consistency of your images. And that applies whether you print or export your photos digitally. Okay, so what kit do we need to do this? You'll need something like this. So this is a Colour Monkey display from X-Rite. There are others on the market which do a very similar job. So take a look at Data Color, Spider and the Calibrate Color Checker 2 as a starting point. Prices start about £160 to £200, so it is a bit of an investment, but it's not a one-off job. You should be doing this process quite regularly and these devices should last you a long time. I think this one is about 11 years old now, I reckon. So to use it, basically you fire up the software, follow the instructions on screen and it guides you through everything you need to do. The hardware hangs over the top of the screen and measures the colours that it flashes up on screen at the device. And it all gets measured by the software and the software adjusts the colour output by the screen accordingly. And that's it, job done. So let's go back to basics, let's take it step by step and start right at the beginning and go through it in detail. But before we do that, I'd really appreciate it if you could help out this channel by liking this video and hitting that subscribe button. There'll be loads more content on photo editing, landscape and aviation photography too, so ring that notification bell right now so you don't miss out on any of that content. Okay, so let's get into it. I'll assume firstly that you've bought the device and you followed the very basics, the instructions, and you've installed the software specific to your device, and now you're ready to do your first calibration. But before we go any further, we need to check some settings and turn off some stuff on the Mac OS system preferences, or I think it's called control panel now. Now these settings should be turned off for calibration and kept switched off for colour critical photo editing workflows, and that's whether you have an external display like these Dells or a built-in display like an iMac or a MacBook. So go into the display section of the system preferences and switch automatic brightness off. You want to be working at a specific brightness level which you'll be selecting later. You also need to make sure that True Tone is switched off and that True Tone adjusts the warmth of the screen depending on the colour temperature of the ambient light around you. Again, you want the colour temperature of the screen to be consistent regardless of the situation. And then also switch off night shift, because what you don't want is the Mac to warm up the colour temperature of the display at night for the same reasons. If you have an external display which is capable of HDR, you need to turn that off too. HDR might be great for gaming and movies, and it's actually no good for photo editing or colour critical workflows. So make sure you've got all of those settings switched off, and now we're ready to get going. So launch the software and select which device you're using and that you want to calibrate a display. On the next screen, it will then ask you to select which screen you want to calibrate if you have multi-screen set up, and the type of backlight technology your screen has. Now, your device may select this automatically for you, but if you're in any doubt, refer to the specifications or the manufacturer's website of your monitor and choose the correct option. So my Dell displays have a bog standard white LED backlight, so I'll check that that's the option selected. Next, you need to select whether you are calibrating for photo, for video, or if you want to choose a custom option. Now, to have full control, I would recommend choosing custom and follow these next steps. Next, you have to choose which white point you want to use. Now, there are a few options here, but if you're doing a lot of photo editing, which is why I'm guessing you're watching this video, you should choose the D65 option. So that means 6500 Kelvin, which is considered to be pure daylight. It's the pure daylight temperature. D50 is another option which is used for some graphics, but it's a warmer daylight colour. Native uses the monitor's own white point if it's already been set in the menu or by some other method. Or in some cases you may be able to choose a daylight temperature option which allows you to set the temperature yourself. But let's keep it simple and choose D65. That's a good photography standard to stick to. Underneath that option in my software, you next need to choose your screen luminance level. Now, the key here to photo editing, especially if you're printing your images further down your workflow, is to not have your screen too bright. A bright screen will almost certainly result in dark prints. Now, brightness is measured in nits or candelas per square metre. That's what CD over M squared means. 120 candelas is generally bright enough for photo editing and shows good detail in the highlights and shadow areas. But anywhere between 80 and 120 is considered to be kind of the best brightness for photo editing. Now, personally, I've set mine to 100 and I think it works really well for me. Then there's the option for gamma tone response curve. Now, the standard default here on my software is 2.20, and that's the setting you should leave it on because it's the closest to a modern LCD panel and it's just fine for photo editing and graphics. Apple, Mac and PC standardise on 2.2 these days anyway, so it's a universal standard and you'll be fine just sticking with that. Press next, and then my software says plug your device into a USB socket. Now, you're probably best to use an actual USB on your computer rather than through a hub. My device isn't actually recognised if I plug it into my USB hub or any of the USBs on my displays. So I use a USB-A to USB-C adapter like this, and I plug it straight into the front of my Mac. Now, you can tell the software to start the measurement process and it will instruct you to position your device on the screen. You might have to remove the cover or flip something over like this depending on which device you have, and then place it on your display nice and flat and make sure there's no light leakage around the side. Now you might find it's easier to tilt your screen backwards so that gravity helps you keep the device nice and flat against the screen. So that's a good tip there. And now next you'll need to know what adjustments your monitor is capable of. Can you adjust the brightness and contrast only, or can you adjust the red, green and blue values independently too? Here you can select what you can do, otherwise the software will allow the colours, adjust the colours for you if your screen adjustment settings are a little bit limited. So it's good to get into the menus of your screen and find out what it's actually capable of. And then you'll see the measurement process begin. It flashes some white, red, green and blue screens, and then all you need to do is follow the instructions after that and change the settings on the screen. So here I need to adjust my RGB to hit the target so everything is in the right place. Once that's done, you can press next. Now some more colours flash, some more measurements are taken, and now you need to change the brightness to agree with the software and the brightness level you've previously selected, which in my case is 100 nits. Now all you need to do is press the button which starts the whole process. Loads of colours will flash up on screen and the software and hardware will get to work to create a profile for your screen. Mine takes around about 10 minutes I think. Now once it's done, the software will give you the option to name your profile and it will automatically apply it to your screen. Now I suggest naming it something sensible that is easy to understand. So for example, my naming convention is Del, L or R for left or right, and the month and year. Then if you want, in the software you can compare before and after. There's a selection of images that you can look at here and select before and after, and now you can be confident that your screen is showing the colours the way they should be and as accurately as possible. Now as photographers, colour is important in our workflow, and as screen fades and colours shift over time and as our displays age, it's a good idea to calibrate your screen fairly regularly. Personally, I do mine every month or two, and as I said, this device is an investment and it pays off to use it on a regular basis to keep your display showing colours as correctly as they possibly can. So that's it. That's all you need to know about screen calibration. I hope you found that useful. Please give this video a big thumbs up and I hope to see you on the next video. Thanks for watching and bye for now.